all saw a movie that we would call it an indie movie or something like that. It's like
It's a lower budget movie.
Yes.
But it does seem to have weight behind it. Just because of how critically acclaimed this franchise has been, and seeing as this is the third installment in X, because this will be like a little bit of, we're going over all of it at the start and then we'll cover the movie. But with X, let me just say, pretty heavily sexual movie to be watching at like 1 a.m. with the boys. We all in our watch party watching this fucking movie, and girls were in the group chat like, well.
There was a month where we watched Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
And every episode was like that.
Yeah, so the way that we saw these movies was how they were released.
When I watched those movies back to back, I couldn't see the connection between the two. Again, I know one is a prequel, but I guess because I watched them so close to each other that they kind of fused together. So yeah, that is a prequel, and this is a trilogy. And we're going to be talking about the third movie in this trilogy.
They're making a fourth one apparently.
Oh yeah,
I heard, so that's why I'm pretty sure that no spoilers yet. We'll leave that for the end just to tell you guys the ending, because this is going to be a full spoiler review. So the nicest thing is that the movie theater we went to for the movie Maxxxine, which we all saw yesterday,
you guys got.
They gave us these headshots.
Would you guys recommend that people go out and see this movie?
I would. Let's start with you.
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it a lot. The music kind of got me the most, I feel like. Just anything where they can pick certain things of music where I'm like, okay, so you know a lot of these artists. Yeah, no, I'd say recommend it. Or I'd say I do recommend it.
How much you give you out of 10?
Out of 10. 8.5 out of 10.
For me, love the stylistic nature. Wasn't better than the other two. Just because of, we'll get into that. But for me, you'll find out more about my ranking. Right now, it's at an 8.
Okay, I would also recommend you go see this, especially if you're into, I don't know, 80s horror. Would you recommend it? People go see the movie? Oh, I guess a thumbs up.
Yeah, I love
How many thumbs up? 2 thumbs up.
I love the 80s theme of it, and it's the best one of all 3.
So it starts with her walking down that long. She's walking into the movie set, like the studio type thing. Yeah. And she sits on a chair in front of like three people judging her acting.
Good actress, Mia Goth.
And it was for a movie in the franchise. It was for a movie. It was a sequel to a movie called The Puritan. So we get that she's an actor. She used to be in porn and X. And now she has moved over and wants to be like full-blown acting.
Which was that was very common back then. It was like you were like a porn star going over to like horror.
Yeah, I guess that's an easy entry point. He's fucking innuendos.
She got in her car and drove around 1985.
She has some friends that also have a similar profession to her. I think that's kind of where we're introduced to the killer of the movie.
Yeah, and
the Night Stalker, potentially.
I was gonna say, I thought the Night Stalker plot would play a role more. I know it was like, well, that's why these killings are happening or this and that, but I thought it would like... I thought they were going to do a Quentin Tarantino thing. She ends up just like killing like Richard Ramirez or whatever.
I thought
saves people or something like that.
She and her other friend, who she met outside, were talking about going to this party in the hills. Yeah. But then after that, they're never seen from again.
They filmed a lot in Universal Studios. We got to see the Norman Bates Motel and the actual house behind it, which is just a shell, pretty much, but it's still cool to see.
It seemed like the director was very inspired by Psycho.
He also filmed only using technology from the 80s, I've read, which is kind of
really
cool. So it feels very authentic.
So I said those girls were never seen from again. Boom, boom, they were. They showed up dead. And they were burned with a satanic, like a pentagram.
Yeah, it was just kind of burned in their face.
On their face or whatever. We see that Maxxxine is working at the strip club as well as working at this place called Showgirls. Now, really weird looking back at it now.
Yeah,
who
for
the
sure.
killer was.
Yeah, that's right. Especially when the camera zooms in on his like black glove and his
I know. I told Forrest, I was like, "Holy fuck, this guy's horny."
Yeah,
I know. Even Forrest are laughing. He's like,
I know. He's squeezing it to the point where he rips it off. I was like, he's fucking so horny.
All these gloves are tearing. Oh yeah.
Then we see that her go to a video store where she talks to a friend.
You're in a situation where your protagonist is not a good person either, because if you've seen the other movies, you know, like that's actually in the summary of this movie is like something threatens to uncover her sinister past. It's like, yeah.
There was a lot that happened.
She
in
threatened
X.
to throw her father, who's in a wheelchair, into a bunch of crocodiles.
No, that wasn't her.
That was no. She played her
That was Pearl.
the old lady. She played the old lady, but it wasn't actually Max.
Oh, see, this is why I can't connect them. I don't know who the fuck. Is it the same actress?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm confused. It's like the fucking Saw thing with the Johns.
No, because Pearl, right, wanted to be in porn because fucking Superman
Okay.
showed her the porn videos and she was all run up for it. And then it was pretty much Pearl sees Maxxxine and they almost look identical. So Pearl sees Maxxxine as everything she wanted.
Okay.
So then it kind of like now she's killing them all because she never got what she wanted and this girl is. Because she got to be in porn, she's going to be in movies.
Okay.
Because Pearl gave up that life to do her fucking weird shit with her husband and her dead family.
Scarecrow. Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, fucking that scarecrow.
Yeah,
She did fuck that scarecrow. It sounds all weird, so weird out of context. But so then she talks to her friend and she says how she's gonna make it big.
Her agent's played by Giancarlo
Oh,
Esposito.
right. That was a surprise. I didn't know he was in this movie. I was
He
just
crushed
taken
it,
aback.
by the way.
Oh yeah.
And later on too.
That hair.
Yeah.
Brandon got
Yeah, he does a great job.
that hair.
That fucking smile.
That fucking hair.
Yeah.
So then we meet this private detective, Kevin Bacon. He's keeping tracks on old Maxxxine.
Okay, so that's what I didn't know his profession, because I know he was like there's like a henchman for the real killer, but I guess he's someone that was hired by him.
Yeah, there's a couple things I'm confused about. That's why this movie is getting like lower for
In
me.
retrospect, I feel like Kevin Bacon should have been the real villain.
That was the
Better
weirdest
actor.
thing. He's always like, my employer pays me to do jobs, and it's all about my employer. Later on, it's like he's trying to kill her. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's odd, right?
Because it's like he's trying to gun her down, and it's like it's all meant for his employer. I have no idea. Like, that was very strange. It's like, why are you trying to kill her? He's like, you will pay for your sins. And so it's like, but her dad had this grand plan for her. We see the Night Stalker. We see Kevin Bacon kind of keeping an eye on her, and blah blah blah. Not that. Oh, and then she's walking with her friends, and she gets in a back alley.
Right.
And
that's
then this guy.
Was he a mime?
No. Okay, so he was an impersonator.
Okay.
And I told this to Forrest, and then he's like, no. She pulls a gun on him. He's like, no. I was just trying to have fun. And then she says, hold it right there, Buster. And I laughed because he was a Buster Keaton impersonator, an old stuntman. So I was like, hold it right there, Buster. I was like, fuck yeah, that's a good fucking little reference. Except one of the most grotesque scenes in any movie I've ever seen. She gets him to strip naked. And then she is like, suck on it. And then he has to suck on the gun. But I really thought he was just going to put it in his mouth, but he full on went to the balls with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. When I was watching, I was like,
Am I the because this happens a lot in movies? Not that, but like the thing where you're threatening with
What
a gun.
movies are you watching?
Yeah. If I'm threatened with a gun, I would rather they just shoot me than like, okay, you know the movie with Quentin Tarantino with Samuel L. Jackson where he's like,
The
Hateful Eight. Yeah.
that one scene.
make
I would
him
rather them shoot me. And you know what I mean? Like it's same with this Maxxxine scene where it's like, all right, I'm gonna walk away. You can shoot me in the back if you fucking want. That's my policy.
She makes him suck her gun. And then she's like, lay down. And she just full on with the heel of her stilettos. Stomps.
Ouch.
Stomps on his fucking balls as hard as she can. And me and Forrest were just like, oh. Like, we felt it for all the boys.
That's an elaborate way to get that to
everywhere.
happen. She could have just kicked him in the nuts, but instead she's like, all right, I'm going to need you to strip, then prone, and then I'm going to walk over you. And the most elaborate setup.
Oh, I just got to chill. It's not good.
No.
It's not good. Let's
I can
move
envision
on.
it. It's not good.
No.
So then after the balls, after all that, we see more of the Night Stalker. We see this big house he has, and he has those two girls that we saw. And they're pretty much getting blindfolded and dragged to this room.
Yeah.
And being fed to the Night Stalker. She gets a tape sent to her, and it says for Maxxxine, and she's watching it while her roommate's sleeping right there. And it's a tape from X, where, as we explained, there was this killer named, we didn't explain, but as we briefly spoke about, there was this girl named Pearl who tried to kill Maxxxine, killed all of her friends, and she drove away because she's like, I'm not fucking dealing with this. I'm trying to be famous. And they're like, we're going to expose you. We're going to expose you unless you meet us at this address. And then she's like, I'm not going to fucking go there. And then Kevin Bacon, Kevin Bacon's the private detective. There was a point. Did any of you realize it? Which actors and actresses got their first part in a horror, or their big part in a horror role? And then they were like Jamie Lee Curtis, and then whatever. And I was like, then she got to 5. And I know because she said Maxxxine Minx, because the 5th was probably Kevin Bacon because he starred in Friday the 13th. But they can't say his name because he's in the movie. And I was like, that was a nice little
That's pretty cool,
thing.
Yeah.
That was a nice little thing.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Did you say you love that?
Oh, that's so good.
You didn't know he was in
I said I didn't know that.
You didn't know he was in the first movie?
Yeah, I felt like the movie, what they should have done was not have the dad be the one that did all of it. Like, oh no, make it where like the dad was the one behind, like, who hired her. I understand for the ending why they didn't do that, but I feel like that would have made more sense.
Oh wait, she plays the tape and she plays it for way too long. Like she should have hit stop and then
she's like, I'm really watching myself fuck here.
Yeah.
And then her roommate's waking up, so she takes out the tape. He asks her what. Then she's like, can you try to figure out where this tape's from? And he's like, yeah. So then he has the tape, and then the Night Stalker shows up.
Funny because she's like embarrassed by it, but she leaves the tape with him. Like how she's
I said that too. She's
tape.
very trusting.
Yeah.
I would have been too taken by interest. I would have. That's not a saying. My curiosity would have got the better of me. I would be too taken by interest. Yeah, my curiosity would have got the best of me. I would have for sure looked at that tape. But the Night Stalker shows up, and it was a pretty cool kill scene.
Yeah, that was.
And she's like sleeping away after just Maxxxine does a ton of coke in this movie.
Yeah, she's doing a lot throughout the movie.
Yeah,
a lot of coke. And you see the guy get sliced in the face, and then she wakes up to see her friend dead, and she starts freaking out. Now she's back with the police. What are you going to do? You could help us. You could save the next girl. And then she's like, tell the next girl to save her fucking self. I did. If I was the FBI agent, would I be thinking something weird when she said I did?
Yeah.
Like, what did you survive?
Yeah, no.
Nobody asked her that. He meets with Kevin Bacon, and he pretty much, we're just going to call him
just
Kevin
the
Bacon,
actor.
the private detective. And he's just pretty much like, yeah, you got to go to this house and fucking...
It just got like, I feel like that was just got so insane where they were like...
Did she get a letter?
He was constantly like trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Felt like for a good 20, 30 minutes of the movie, or there would be a scene where he was trying to kill her, he'd fail.
She meets up with him, and then later she's like, he's like, you got to go to this place. These people need to see you. And then he's like, if you don't, there'll be consequences, and we're going to release the rest of your shit. And he's like, my employer is a very powerful man. Then he's tailing her with a video camera, and he's getting footage of her. And then she steps out, and she's got keys between her fingers, and she punches the shit out of him.
He has a video camera, and he's recording her as she's driving in front of him. And she finds that creepy, heads over there, fistful of keys, and just left loose.
He gets his ass beat.
Yeah.
He threw he had no defense. He was just like, I'm getting punched.
That was, like if I get punched once, I'm like, whoa, I'm gonna abuse like sitting there.
He said that was personal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it was personal though?
Yeah.
What
so
do you think?
Then she shows up late to her first like dress rehearsal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She shows up late because stuff with fucking Night Stalker and the private detective. She speaks to the last girl who starred in the first one, the Puritan. Yeah, and I'll be going to a party in the hills tonight. And it's like, here's the third one.
There it is.
And she's spoken with her agent at this point, and her agent was like, said, I'll be your lawyer. And she explained the whole situation, which no, he just becomes fucking mob boss.
Yeah, like he's a bit more than a lawyer, as we will see later.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck it. Pretty much. Now, Kevin Bacon is stalking her for, I guess, his own personal reasons to catch her.
Yeah, like he gains like a personal vendetta against her for the key punching that he endured.
So he followed her through the studio, bing bang. It ended up with him not catching her. It was really weird because I'm just thinking like he has his gun out the whole time. I'm like, why the fuck is he trying to shoot her?
There was a scene where they were like in a giant alley, like a bright daylight and whatever. But he had a gun on him, and he decides to run after her instead.
He chases her all the way, but it's like the guy who owns the bar, her agent, and her all plan this. And he comes out and he gets smashed in the head, and he takes one of the biggest fucking tumbles I've ever seen off a fucking ledge. Holy shit.
Yeah, it wasn't the baseball hit or whatever the fuck it was to his head. It was the fall when he hit the ground, I was just like, holy fuck.
So he's knocked out, wakes up. He's in a car crusher. See, this is what I talked about before.
See,
he was crushing it.
He was chained to his wheel, and I thought, okay, they're gonna drive him into the river, but there was a twist.
They just crushed the shit out of it like he was the main villain, and I didn't understand that. It's like, don't you want the bigger fish to fry? Because guy's still out to kill her.
It's true. Yeah, it's odd story wise to kill him so suddenly and not have him have like a through point to the main villain.
Well, she had the
like there was just kind of like
letter.
Yeah, I know, but you could have went in with so much more, knowing who it was, knowing like what he's got going on, if he's got people at the house, how he does it. So now she looks at this envelope that was given to her by the private detective, Kevin Bacon, and it has an address on it. She goes to the address. So she shows up, realizes the killer is her dad. He's making his own movie.
I guess that's, there's the revelation as to why the private detective had a camera and all that, and why other cameras were involved with the two people that were kidnapped initially at the beginning of the movie. I don't remember the ending of X, but yeah, I guess the father was hinted at there. Yeah?
I know, it seemed very strange. I was hoping like he had the gloves on and the mask or whatever and the hat. And then he revealed himself. But he was just sitting there, just playing an old video of Maxxine. And then it was just like, I'm your... It's like he said it. I'm your dad. It's like, okay. I know he said it for us, but it's still strange. It's like, it was me, Maxxine, your dad.
I thought when the whole shootout and shit happened there, that it was insane that those two cops basically took everyone out. I felt like there was like 10 people around.
No, there's two detectives, right?
Yeah. So then the big thing is he wants to end his movie by doing an exorcism on her. But it seemed like they were all meant to die because he's like, I tried to save your friends. And it's like they didn't want it. But when he asked her, her mouth was still like bound. So it's like even you couldn't understand what she was saying anyway. So I was like,
they should have showed the exorcism.
And then the FBI agents show up and the big shootout the Forrest spoke about happens. And now this is where the movie gets really confusing for me.
Okay.
Because everybody gets fucked. Her dad catches on fire. He jumps in the water in the pool, fucks off. The two FBI agents are following her dad.
Yeah.
The one gets shot. Okay, he dies. If male FBI agent dies, he's like, I always wanted to be an actor, and I've never been up here at the Hollywood sign where the big final shot happens. But he's like, it made me laugh because it just made it seem like her dad's fucking Batman with the fucking cross batarang he throws in her eye. Like the female officer's like, I shot him, but she has this cross in her eye.
Yeah,
weird.
And I was like, holy fuck,
what?
he just
that's a little
Batman
much.
batarang threw it at her.
And he was dying. I don't think we saw that.
No, she said I shot him. Like I got him.
Oh, okay. So
but he got her, and I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? How the fuck? And he was pretty incapacitated. But pretty much then he reveals like, oh, I wanted you to have the spot. I was finally going to give you your spotlight. And then it's like, then the helicopter comes, the police chopper, and it starts pointing the light down. And then he's like, I gave you this. And it's like weird. You know, he's like, whatever. He's like trying to make it seem like he's a good dad or something at the end. He's like, I gave you your dream. And then,
you got the spotlight you wanted. Like,
and then they both repeat a line that she's been saying since the first movie, which is like, I will not accept a life I don't deserve. And then the cop fucking chopper is on her and her dad. And I'm sorry, but I feel like there would be repercussions for him. Fucking, the cops are looking at you and you blow his head off.
Like, wouldn't it like it would be like reasonable force or something like that? But like, he's on the ground, he's defenseless, and you have a shotgun to his head. There's no other people left to
defend him. Shotgun to his head. It's like, and with the way his head exploded, I feel like there was a lot more weird like loose ends in this movie.
Like, you wouldn't watch a movie where the main actor blew somebody's fucking head off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the very final shot of the movie. It was just like fucking head blowing up, the credits. And I remember thinking, I was like, wait, wouldn't they have a fucking issue with that? You just
I thought that's where it would cut to black. Well, but after the headshot, it goes.
It didn't just happen like that, because between that, we see her having the gun to her dad's head. Then it goes to a cut of like, and her promoting the Puritan 2, and she got famous from it. End credits. And then I was just like, it was good, but like back to thinking about it, there was a lot of loose ends. I really want to know how that fucking cross batarang ended up in that fucking detective's eye. So we want to do something fun. So we got these headshots. Maxxine Minx, who is played in the movie by Mia Goth. So this is Maxxine Minx. And below it, there is a telephone number. Do you need the telephone number? It's 213.
Make sure to throw on speaker.
788-1211. And we say that so you guys can experience it if you want to at home.
Okay, so we're going to call the number and find out what happens. Have the volume up.
Maxxxine Minx. Thank you for signing up for my fan club. I love all of my loyal, undying fans and appreciate all your support.
That's cool. I like those. Follow to something
What
like that
happens
as
if you
well.
call 867-5309?
You'd probably get somebody's number.
If you text, and this is in Fallout, you can call a number, but also text it, and you'll get different responses.
Yeah, that
I would
was-
rate this.
You know
probably
what?
it's the weakest out of the three in terms of that scale. I kind of like the one that was more horror. I think the old man one,
X.
killer.
That one was
X.
fucked.
I think I like that the most. The most, because the second one is more creepy, I think, more than horror.
I like the atmosphere, yeah.
And this one's very Hollywood.
You know what? I
guess.
never watched the second one. I know we all watched it. I fell asleep.
Lies.
So I watched a bit of it, but I fell asleep.
That one's so good. It starts a little slow, but then it's like her anger builds and builds, and you can just see her getting crazier and crazier. And then it's like she's trying to kill her dad, which in the movie, you see her standing on the star of this actress, and the actress' name was Theta something. And that's Pearl's favorite movie star from back in the day. And she named her alligator Theta after that actress.
I remember watching X, and it was a pretty good movie. I feel like we kind of have like a new, well, it depends on what they do in the future. A new, I don't want to say slasher series, not really a slasher, but new like
Something.
little horror series here. You know, modern.
Good director, good writer.
2020s.
I guess, yeah. He knows how to do his.
That's why I want them to do more. I like this shit. Like, it's the kind of, we don't have a lot of movie series like this in terms of horror and all that. So it's kind of
Support
cool.
these movies. Go watch them.
Watch it in a theater near you. Get a headshot.
Watch it on Prime, I guess.
So you said the fourth one, they're not going to focus on her?
I've read that this is going to be a closing to the trilogy of Maxxxine, but we'll see about that.
Because I said, or I said,
If they do another thing, they're going to have Mia Goth in it. It's just going to be something different.
yeah, because they said that they thought, their director, whoever said something like, oh, I thought this was going to be the end, but they're working on another movie.